tea. I don't ever smoke the dizzy, but we can always share some disease. It's just a cup in time. This song doesn't have to rhyme. Life's all of us, not every moment we can be feeling fine. I wanna share a moment, just a second if you will, maybe even a cup of thrill. We could share this performance. It's tea time, come sit with me.
Well, welcome, guys. Miss Liz in the house. That's right. I am back. I feel like I miss you guys because I haven't been doing tea times as often as I usually do them. Christmas time is coming and all that good stuff. But this week has just been a crazy week for Miss Liz. I've been in and out of hospitals, once with my granddaughter, yesterday with my spouse. Like, it's just been one of those days just sitting around and meeting new people in a hospital, because that's just how you can meet people too, right? Sit and talk with people that are going through a hard time. But today I have the incredible Mitzi Ocasio in the house, and we're going to spill some tea and we're going to talk about, let's think about it. And today's tea is open-minded, open heart, and open soul. That's right. So we're going to open a lot of different doors for everybody out there, and we're going to get Mitzi's little books out there and her podcast, all that good stuff. But before we get started, we're going to get everybody over to Miss Liz's YouTube channel, Facebook, Spotify, LinkedIn, TikTok, all those good platforms. You guys know how it works with Miss Liz. And let's give those a like, follow, and subscribe. And let's get these tea times out there, and let's make a difference with everybody out there, because I guarantee you one tea time will make a difference with someone out there. So let's get started with disclaimer and then a nice, beautiful intro. And let's get Mitzi in here and let's spill some tea with all of you guys today. Disclaimer for Miss Liz's Tea Time live show. Miss Liz's Tea Time is a global platform dedicated to sharing real-life stories, diverse perspectives, and meaningful conversations that inspire awareness, healing, and connection. Hi, Miss Liz is going live using StreamYard. Before leaving a comment during the live broadcast, please grant StreamYard permission to display your name at StreamYard.com. Please be advised that all the content brought forward during any Tea Time show is presented in good faith. However, discussions may include opinions, beliefs, and perspectives that do not necessarily represent the views of Miss Liz or the Tea Time platform. Information shared by the guests is based on their own experiences and is perceived to be accurate at the given time of airing. All guests, viewers, and participants are responsible for using their own judgment when considering any action or decision that may relate to these discussions. Some episodes may cover sensitive topics, including but not limited to trauma, abuse, grief, mental health, and other emotionally triggering subjects. Listeners' and viewers' discretion is strongly advised. Tea Time with Miss Liz is an open discussion forum designed to offer insight, inspire awareness, and create connection. It is not a substitute for professional, medical, legal, or therapeutical advice. If you require professional support, please seek assistance from qualified professionals or trusted resources in your area. If you have any questions regarding this disclaimer or the content of this discussion, you are welcome to contact me, aka Miss Liz, directly on my email at bookingmissliz@gmail.com or visit my link tree at Miss Liz's Tea Time. By choosing to participate in, comment on, or view these live shows, you acknowledge and accept this disclaimer. Your participation is entirely voluntary. Miss Liz welcomes you to join the conversation with an open heart, and if at any time you feel this platform is not right for you, I respect your decision and welcome you back whenever you are ready. Tea Time with Miss Liz is serving truth and awareness one cup at a time. Well, I want to welcome everybody back to Tea Time with Miss Liz, myself, where real conversations pour courage into everyday life. Today we gather with intention, awareness, and curiosity as we welcome a woman who invites us to think deeper and live wiser. Joining us is Mitzi Ocasio, host of the podcast Mitzi, Let's Think About It, holistic wellness advocate and self-published author of 4 children's books. Mitzi speaks into the world of mindfulness, mental health, and the power of conscious thinking. Her voice encourages us to slow down and ask questions and become more present in our own lives. From raising 2 brilliant young boys to building a platform centered on awareness and emotional growth, Mitzi shows up that healing is daily work and wisdom begins with listening to ourselves. Today, Tea Time is an invitation to explore how small mindsets shift create powerful life changes. So grab your cup, set your heart down gently. Today is for clarity, growth, and fresh perspective. Let me get Mitzi in here. Let's spill some tea together. Welcome,
Hi.
Mitzi.
Hi. Thank you for having me.
It is a pleasure to have you here. So, Mitzi, I'm going to take you down the first rabbit hole of Miss Liz. Who is Mitzi as a little girl and who is Mitzi now?
Ooh, wow. That is a real good question. I think Mitzi, as a little girl, was full of love, full of wonder, full of curiosity, and such a giving heart. And I think when I got as I got older, time just and pressure of life kind of conformed me to be something different, and I forgot who I was. You know what I mean? As a little girl, I forgot about that love. I forgot about that giving spirit. I forgot about the curiosity. I forgot about that joy in the simplest things, in the simplest ways. And with my mother pushing me to wake up and life pushing me to wake up, it forced me to see life differently. And now, as a woman with children, I'm stepping back to that childlike faith of just giving and just loving and being vulnerable and being honest and just embracing the beauty of life as well as the harshness of life. You know what I mean? And I realize that the harshness of life isn't to break you but to mold you and to develop you and to help you see the characteristics that you need to have as an adult and to mature. You know what I mean? And I think that's one thing that I'm gaining is that maturity level, and I'm not being stuck with a certain time frame in my life. I'm now evolving and growing and moving forward. And I just will I wish I could just hug my younger self and be like, we made it. You know, it's not perfect still, and it probably will never be fully perfect, but it's just right enough where I can go to sleep every night knowing that I did my best and I'm doing the best that I possibly can with what I have, and I'm okay with that.
Mitzi, I love that statement. Hug our younger selves. I think we all need to just hug our younger selves,
Yeah.
and be proud of how far we've all come in our
Yeah.
journeys. You know, when I asked you what your tea was, I'm going to get into your tea right away because of that little girl that you just hugged. And you talk about your tea being open minded, open heart, and open soul. You just gave me the word embrace,
Mhm.
so that's the embracement of openness. So I want to know a little bit about why you gave me these three statements: open minded, open heart, and open soul, a little bit deeper.
Well, I think open minded, open heart, and open soul changes the way that we see the world. Because if you walk in the world, you see so many people who are closed, so many people who are shut down, and they have this hermit mentality where they're in their shell and they don't want to explore, or they want to stay where they know, or where they're comfortable, and they don't really want to experience life. They just want to exist in life. And I think when you have that three: open mind, open heart, open soul, then you have an open mind to see things. You have an open mind to hear things. You have an open heart to experience things, to love, to hurt, to feel all these things that we feel, that instead of repressing our feelings, repressing our emotions, we experience it and we appreciate the love, we appreciate the anger, we appreciate all of these emotions that we go through, and realize that my body's talking to me, my soul is talking to me. And that's where that open soul comes in. We have to open our soul so that it can learn that I'm not 12 years old anymore. I'm not 8 years old anymore. I'm not that young little girl anymore, still trying to bang on the door, letting you know, danger, danger. Like, we're not at this point anymore. We are a grown woman. I'm 32. You know what I mean? Like, I've lived through life and I'm still living, and I've met people who are in their 90s and who are in their hundreds, and they've always told me, never stop learning. You know what I mean? And never stop pursuing. And I was always like, why? And then this old man that I took care of when I used to be a CNA, he was 98 years old. And he's like, I was a farmer. I always had farmer. I always had to work on my feet. And the day that I retired was the day that I chose not to move. And he literally didn't move from his chair. And then 2 years later, he was handicapped. He was unable to move his legs at all. And he's like, I regret that because I can't do for myself like I used to. And now I'm dependent on you and everybody else when it's like, all I had to do was not close my mind, not close my heart, not close my soul, not close my ideas of what could be. And that always resonated with me. You know what I mean? That's where it comes back to having that open mind. If I didn't have that open mind to listen to this old man, then I wouldn't have that story that links with me still to this day. And it's been over 15 years since I've seen that man. He's probably long gone and in the grave by now, but it's so real how people don't realize that one moment in time, a story, a journey, wisdom can be hold so much truth and so much value years later in our lives that we don't even see value anymore. But when you shift your perspective and shift your frame of mind, you're able to see like it still holds value. It still can help me in my today.
Well, look, you said it's been what, 15 years since you've seen him?
I was like, um, I was a CNA right out of high school. I was in a CNA in high school. So he was 98 when I was 17. So I'm assuming, and I'm 32 by now. So I'm assuming that he's long gone and dead already. So it's been some time.
Well, Mitzi, he's been long and gone, but his message still stuck with you. It still
Yeah.
kept you going. And
Yeah.
that's what it is, right? Take the time to sit and actually get to know people.
Yeah.
Like I said at the beginning of the show before we started, I've been in the hospital for the last few days, and I just got to sit and talk with people, total strangers, and just get them a coffee and see why they're there and how. But it stuck with you. Like you said, 15 years, at least 15 years. So maybe you were 15 years old or 17 years old. Um, but when we meet people, they serve us cups that we don't even take the time to listen to until later on. And we're like, oh, they just served us a cup of tea. And that's what it's all about is tea. The people we meet along the way, the stories we meet along the way, and how we serve.
Yeah.
Uh, and as you were saying, hug that little girl, hug your younger self, hug that younger little boy, because I have a lot of male listeners out there. Hug yourselves. There's nothing wrong with helping and hugging ourselves and saying, you know what, we came a long way and we're proud of what we've done. Um,
Exactly.
and the words that you're giving me, explore, embrace, evolving, those are kind of things that go along with your storybooks that you share as well and that you've written. So I'm going to pull up 3 of the 4 because I only have 3 guys, but go and check out her website. But Mitzi, I'm going to get you to read out your website because I like to do this to my listeners. I like to get them to listen to the whole show. So sometimes I stick it in the beginning, the middle, the end. They just never know when it's coming. Could you spell out your website for the
Yes.
audio listeners?
Yes, not a problem. MitziThinkInc.com is spelled MitziThinkInc.com. Yep. So it's quick and easy.
Awesome. So we're going to start with the first book. Which book are we going with? Let me see. Eeny, meeny, miny, mo. Let's go with this one. Mitzi, let's talk about this one.
Yes, my dog loves eggs. Oh, this book was dedicated from my dog that just recently passed last year, Ontario. He was a love bug for eggs. Oh my goodness. He would do anything for eggs. He knew when I was bringing eggs out of the refrigerator. He knew when we were coming home with eggs from the grocery store. He knew when I was cooking eggs in the morning. And this book is exactly that. It's about being silly. It's about just thinking about the many ways that we can get excited over something so simple as eggs and how our pets get so hung up and hung over something so simple as their favorite treat. If it's peanut butter, if it's a bone, if it's whatever that it is, it allows children and adults to realize, huh, my dog has a way of doing things. My dog has their quirky mannerism. And even if it's not a dog, it could be a cat. It could be any type of pet or any type of love that you have dear to your heart that's outside of you. I think it's so important. And I think that's the reason why I did this book, was to help people realize that it's okay to be silly sometimes, and it's okay to see the silliness in other things outside of us, like my dog. And I love this book because of Ontario. He was such a sweet guy. He was such a sweet dog. And having this book is most definitely a memory that I hold dear to my heart.
So, Mitzi, how did you get the name Ontario for your dog?
To be honest, I actually got him from a breeder. And so he was already named Ontario. And he was only 3 years old when I got him, and he died when he was 6 years old. So he was really young in my eyes. There was still so much life to live, and it was sad because it was one night I gave him a kiss goodnight to bed, and I wake up to do our morning walk, and he did not wake up. He was just there still and in his position of sleep. And I wish I knew what happened. You know what I mean? I wish I knew what could happen. But in my mind, I allow myself to think that maybe he found his chickens of hens. You know what I mean? He went to that farm where he had all of his eggs, and
He ate a rotten egg.
exactly, like he did that dream and he did that turn and he looked back, was like, I'll keep going. I got my eggs.
He got that rotten egg after how many eggs, right?
Exactly.
And we're going to jump into the second book. Let's go here. Pop this one up. What's this one about, Mitzi?
Little Miss Puddles. Oh, I love this one. I actually I this is a second part of my first book, Mr. Waters. I know for some technical reasons it didn't come up, but Mr. Waters is about water and how important we use water and how we utilize water for so many things. And this book kind of like branches off of it. And it's funny because I wasn't actually going to do a second part of Mr. Waters, but my sister, I sent her a book and she was just like, Mitzi, you should do another book. I think it would be really good to have a like puddles, you know what I mean? Like how cute would that be? And I was just like, you know what, that is really cute. So I did Little Miss Puddles in dedication to my little sister Kata. And it's basically about how Mr. Waters takes is babysitting Little Miss Puddles. That's the granddaughter's name, Little Miss Puddles, and how he goes on these adventures with her and he's teaching her all of the importance of water and how they utilize water still, and how recycling is still very important. Because I think if kids start to see how important water is and how much we need to be conscious about our water usage and how we utilize water, then it'll help them not be so wasteful when it comes to them using water. You know what I mean? I mean, I understand that for some reason we have in our minds that water is just accessible and it's owed to everybody, but in all actuality, there's a lot of places that don't have access to clean, fresh water. People don't have access to water that they can just use on abundance and just leave their faucet on and walk away, come back and it's still on. You know what I mean? There are a lot of places around the world that they are only allowed a certain amount of water for a certain amount of time, or they only have a certain gallon for their building to be shared amongst, you know what I mean? All these different things. And I just wanted to make this a reality to children to really think about, because they are our future. You know what I mean? And if children are our future, then shouldn't we teach our children the importance of the matters that they are going to have to face when they are adults? So because of that, I wrote Little Miss Puddles to help kids be more conscientious about water and start looking out into the world and seeing how they use water and how they see water being used around them.
I love that you're giving the kids something to think about, and it kind of goes into your podcast, which we're going to jump into really next. But let's get the last book out there, and maybe there's a blessing from the universe telling us not to put Mr. Waters up, so that people do go to the website and check out Mitzi. There's always a way the universe works. It's magic. So let's get this one up and talk about this one a little bit.
Job Fair for Angels. This is my latest and greatest one. I'm so proud of this book. It's you don't have to be religious, you don't have to be anything like that. It's just the concept, playing with the idea of after death. What if, you know what I mean, what if w- after death you go to heaven and you have a job to do as an angel? You know what I mean? Like, I know it seems like, well, after I die I don't really want to do nothing, but it's like it kind of gives you hope, you know what I mean? And that's what I want to do, is like I want to give adults, children, everybody in between, the hope of, what if my loved one is still watching me? What if my loved one is still guiding me? What if my loved one is still like encouraging me in ways that I don't even know? And that's what this book is all about. It's about this gentleman, he dies and he goes to heaven, and he's trying to find his place in the job fair. And in the job fair you can either be a guardian angel, a transitional angel, a worship angel, or a prayer angel. And depending on which one you feel your heart is more desired to, then that is your place. And it's really interesting because then it makes you wonder, like, we're not alone. You know what I mean? Like, our concept of, what if this is true? If you know what I mean? If, because I don't know. Nobody knows. You know, it's a kid's book. That's the beauty of kids books. You can play with the idea. And that's why I did this, because this is actually in dedication to my father-in-law, who recently just passed away. He died in his sleep also, which is kind of ironic, but yes, he died in his sleep. And I wanted to do this for his family and for my husband. And it gave us so much peace and so much love knowing that this is out there, because at the end he chooses his spot and God gives him his wings, and now he's an angel. And it's so warm hearting, because it makes you realize that your loved ones are still with you, and you're not really alone in this world. And when it's your time to pass, you can choose your place. And it's also nice to know that when you pray, you have angels writing it down, and you know what I mean. And when you pray and you worship, you have angels cheering you on and worshiping you with you. And it's just, it's a nice thought to have. And that's why I wrote this book.
Well, let me get you back here on screen. There she is. She's full screen now. Mitzi, you know what? I love the way that you did those books. And you just mentioned something about your father-in-law falling asleep and not waking up.
Yeah.
Ontario fell asleep and never woke up. You
Yeah.
know, life is precious, and you just never know when you're going to wake up again.
Exactly.
You know,
Exactly.
and I think that was the message that they were giving you, right? Is treasure life, because you just never know. It
Oh,
might be good night, and you know, then the next job starts, like you said, the job fair. I'm a big believer on that too. We're all gonna go to heaven, and you know, like All Dogs Go to Heaven. That's
yeah.
one of my favorite shows. When Charlie goes to heaven and he's got to go to work, and he's like I don't want to party, like. You know what? That's our second job. Like our job on earth is done, but our job in heaven has just begun.
Yeah, exactly. I agree with you. I think that's something that people don't really connect or even consider. And I think that's the beauty of having these cartoons or having these movies or having these books, because it allows us to play with the idea. You know what I mean? And if we allow ourselves to play with the idea, then it goes back to open mind, and then it goes back to open heart and open soul. And I love how you connected my dog and my father-in-law, because you're so right. Like, I was loving on my dog, and then the next day he was gone. And then literally I spoke to my father-in-law on Sunday. We did FaceTime. He was so cognitive, he was so aware. He was only in his 70s. And the next day I get a call from my mother-in-law saying he never woke up, and he's not waking up, and she didn't know what to do. And it was like it was chaotic, but it just, exactly like you said, it makes us value the life that we have. Like, our life is so precious. And so many people think that they're immortal, they're invincible, that life is forever, that time is beyond our understanding. But our concept and our understanding of time is so tiny compared to the vast of reality of what is actually happening behind the scenes of things, that it makes you really value each day that's given. And I think that's why it's called presence. You know what I mean? The present is truly the present. It's a present. It's a gift. It's a gift to be alive. It's a gift to have today, because tomorrow is really never promised and yesterday is already gone. So if you all you have is today, wouldn't you want to make it worth your while and do the best you can? Be honest, be open, be real, be whoever you need to be, whoever you are, and just embrace yourself relentlessly. And I think that's a real thing.
I honestly, Mitzi, I think that's why the universe does things the way it does. You
Yes.
know, even with technology, it gives us these glitches to really just slow down and pause for a second. You know,
Yes.
because we're on the go all the time. Go, 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 go. And it's like you said with your friend that, you know, the guy that left a legacy behind, because his legacy is being passed on through this conversation. You
Yeah.
know, he would have never thought that Mitzi would have talked about him like years later and said, you know what? You taught me a lesson at such a young age to keep my mind open.
Mhm.
You know, and a lot of people who retire, and I have a lot of older listeners out there, you know, when you retire, you start to get no more schedule, no more structure, no more. So you kind of feel like there's no hope. So you
Yeah.
lose that hope because you're closing that mind slowly, bit by bit. But what
Yeah.
we want to do is we want to open those minds, and we want to get these older listeners to buy these children books for grandkids, kids. You know, we want to get these books out there. Miss Liz is a big seller on her guest. You know, Christmas time is coming. If you want to shop local, shop local. I am a big shop local person, but also shop with my guests. My guests have incredible books. They have incredible services and things as well. Mitzi, I want to get into your podcast because I had the opportunity to be on your podcast, which will be airing next year. That's how busy this woman is. Um, but I want to talk about your podcast because I really enjoyed your podcast because it was the realest, rawest podcast I have ever been on because it's
Mm,
authentic.
thank you.
So I want to really get my listeners out there to check you out and check out the guests that you get on there as well and have those conversations. But I want to talk about your podcast on Let's Think About It. How'd you come up with that name?
To be honest, I came up with that name as if somebody was saying that to me. You know what I mean? So that's how I thought about it, because I just imagine like older people saying like, Mitzi, let's think about it. You know what I mean? Like I remember being a kid, and when I didn't understand something, they'd be like, Mitzi, let's think about it. Let's break it down. You know what I mean? Let's really think about this. So I was like, and it always resonated with me at growing up. So whenever I got stuck, or I hit a wall, or I was just stuck on this thought that was driving me crazy, I was just like, stop, let's think about this. Let's think about it, because I'm probably not thinking about it in a way that I should be thinking about it. You know what I mean? Because I realized that we have like these blinders on, and we only see what's in front of us, or we only see as far as our hand goes out. So if my hand goes out to here, that's as far as I see. You know what I mean? Not realizing that there's so much more that's around us, so much further out, that when we allow ourselves to think, then we allow ourselves to shift and to move and to receive and to gain something that we never knew we needed. And ever since I started this podcast, I have changed my way of thinking, changed my way of acting, changed my words, changed in a way that I know change is possible. Because if I can change, me, the woman that people have doomed and damned me since I was 8 years old, thinking that I was going to be such and such and such, that I am this woman now that I am today, I know change is possible, because now I seek change. Now I'm excited, because every person that I have talked to on my show truly has given me something that leaves me off thinking. You know what I mean? And I've had people come to me, message me, reach out to me, and let me know, like, I never even thought about it in this way. I never even had considered this in this manner before. And I think that's the whole point, is to make you think about the whatever that's being said in such a way that brings you this realization that you weren't thinking about it in the right way, or maybe you finally meet somebody that finally thinks like you, and you're not as crazy as the world or your community or your environment or what your family makes you feel like, because sometimes your family, your inner circle will be so close to you that they can't see the things that you see. You know what I mean? So when you expand your mind and you speak to people outside of you, and I'm pretty sure you can relate, because you've been running your podcast and you had so many other brilliant minds on your show, I'm pretty sure you can relate to the fact that every time you speak to somebody, it's something new that you gain in return, right?
Absolutely. And I learned so much. And sometimes they have me doing homework at 2, 3 o'clock in the morning because I'm just like, how come I didn't learn that? How come I didn't know that? Or they take me down rabbit holes and I'm just like, oh, okay, well, oh, well, now look where I'm going. And I'll be yelling at my phone, Mitzi, at 2, 3 in the morning, like, what the heck is this? Like, how come I didn't learn this? How come I didn't know this? Like, keep that mind open, right?
Yes.
And keep that conversation going, years later, like we're having this conversation, years later, months later. I met Mitzi last year, this year,
Yes.
and we had a really good heart-to-heart conversation. So when you hear my conversation with Mitzi on her podcast, Miss Liz is really direct, and I've shared and expressed a lot of stuff. I might come off as harsh for some people, but you know what? Sometimes hard truth needs to be heard, right, Mitzi? In order to open those doors, to keep those minds open. Because if we start sugarcoating everything and we start getting
Mhm.
easy on things, then things start to close, right?
Yeah.
Doors start to close. People stop questioning. People stop looking outside of the box and stop thinking. And that's what I really enjoyed about your podcast was you let me express myself. You let me think about it. You let me sit in my moment
Yeah.
and say, you know what? Because when I was on your show, I believe, Mitzi, I said I was done with podcasting.
Yeah. Mhm. I
And
remember.
I took 8 months off and then I came back and I was like, you know what? No, because if I close that mind, I'm closing opportunities. I'm closing
Mhm.
doors of meeting people that the universe wants me to meet. So get back on the seat and get moving. And that's exactly what happened. And then the universe just did its job. It just did the work.
Exactly, and we never know. We never know, but it's about back to what we said earlier, open heart,
Yep.
open mind, and open soul. We just have to be open because the world, they are going to make you feel like you need to close, you need to be shut off, you need to protect yourself, you need to be in survival mode, and I get it. I completely get it. I know how it feels to struggle. I know how it feels to hurt. I know how it feels to be abandoned, to be misjudged, to me, all these negative things that can happen. But I don't allow that to change me. I allow that to help me realize the fact that it's part of life. And when you allow those things that are part of life to change you in a negative way, then you're not evolving the way that you're meant to. Because people don't realize your family will teach you one thing, your school will teach you another thing, but life will teach you how to live your life in a way that it needs you to live. So there's no point to stop thinking, to stop learning. We need to continue to evolve and continue to always have the spirit of learning, because you never know who's going to be across that table, the phone, the whatever that it is, and and gain something from them, because there's always somebody that's going to give you something, and there's already something that someone's going to give to you, receive, and vice versa. You know what I mean? And it truly is a beautiful thing, and I'm so glad that you continued on podcasting, because I know in our minds we can deceive ourselves in believing one thing, that, oh, it holds no value, oh, there's other people that's doing more things than me, oh, my small community, how can I really make an impact, or, oh, all these woes and all these me's and all these things that comes into our minds. But it's like, even if it's that one single soul, that soul is going to make a difference. That one single human being, they're going to finally feel heard. They're going to finally feel valued. And when you can bring somebody's spirit up that has been so knocked down, it's like that movie Sing. If you hit rock bottom, the only place that you can go is up. Then go up, move forward, and find out where you're going, and just keep going. Like, don't allow comparison to distract you, because that's the key to deception, is that comparison. And it's like, we don't need to compare ourselves to any single body on this earth. We just need to do the best that we can with the knowledge that we have, and know that it's okay, because you're doing the best that you can. And forgive ourselves for putting that pressure on yourself to think that you need to be like so many other people, when all you need to be is just be you. Just be you. And if the people that love you, let them love you. And if the people who don't love you, well, then that's okay. No worries. There's trillions and billions of people on this earth. Don't worry about it. Keep it going. Move forward, right?
Well, Mitzi, it's like I say, I don't want everybody to love tea time, because if everyone's loving tea time, then you're not being authentic. You're not being real with yourself. You know, uh, I don't want numbers. I want impact. I want to make a difference. So if one tea time resonates with anyone, and they come back and they say, you know what, I just listened to this tea time and it really hit home. I have another friend that might resonate with your tea time or your platform. And that's how it works with podcasting, is keeping your brand and keeping your niche, keeping yourself true and authentic. Stop comparing, stop competing, and stop looking for bigger numbers and bigger audiences. The audience and people will come to you when you're authentic and true to yourself. Me and Mitzi have found this out for ourselves. People are knocking on our door and we're like, what? You want to sit and have tea with us? You want to think about it with us? Like, sure, come on, let's do this. Let's serve this tea. Let's open that door. And that's what I meant about at the beginning of the show, was let's open some doors. And that's what we're going to do with this tea time, is we're going to open some doors. We're going to open some doors to reading children's books. Yeah. We're going to get those books out there. We're going to get the podcasts out there. We're going to connect the dots. We're going to collaborate. We're going to join forces, and we're going to make it stronger. Yeah. And that's exactly how it works, guys. And that's how tea is. We don't serve beverages. Yes, we can drink them. I have a beverage right here, but we got to serve what's within ourselves. And that's what Mitzi did with your books, Mitzi, like even the titles. So we had some questions that came in. I want to get those out to you, Mitzi, as we were talking. Mitzi, the characters on your books, who did the illustrations, and how long did it take you to write a children's book? Because somebody that's listening would like to know how long it would take to write their own.
Well, the children's book didn't really take that long. I had the idea. The way that I work, I do the idea. I have the idea. I write the idea down, and then I do the outline. And in the outline is like one sentence of how I would like it to start to how I would like it to end. And then from there, I go to the actual writing my script. And when I start my script, I allow my mind to just lean in to the vision. You know what I mean? Allow myself to explore. And when it comes to the illustrator, I don't know if you can tell, but a lot of my illustrations are a little bit different. I go through Fiverr and I help independent contractors that way, because that's my way of saying like, hey, I see you, I support you, and I'm willing to trust you and give you the benefit of the doubt. So I usually get people who usually only have like one review or one person that, or just the beginners, you know what I mean? Because I feel like that's the best way to lift up their spirit, realizing like, oh, she sees me, somebody sees me. Like that feeling of somebody sees me is such a beautiful feeling. Like it's like a type of high, you know what I mean? Like it's just exhilarating. So I like to give that to my illustrators. So I usually go on fiverr.com, find an illustrator, find the type that I'm looking for, the style that I'm looking for the book, and go in the price range that I'm able to. For my first book, I spent like $90 for illustration. No, for my first book, I spent $500 for illustrations. My second book was $90. My third book was $200 to $300, and then my last book was $500. So it just kind of depends on the illustrator and depends on what you're looking for. It depends on your budget. You know what I mean? Think about your budget. Don't worry about the all of these costs, because at the end of the day, it's your budget, it's your book. And I've spoken to illustrators, and I've spoken to other authors, and I have seen authors spend anywhere between $100 to all the way to $10,000 on illustrations and publications. And I think that's a little extreme, because I'm not a type of person that has that type of money like that. So for me, I'm just like, I'm not gonna do that. But if that's your cup of tea, if that's what you have in your bank and you're willing to do it, then do what you got to do, boo. I'm not here to judge you, I'm here to help you. And if you would like to work with my last illustrator, she's so lovely, she was so sweet, and she's actually looking for clients right now. I can provide you that information. Just reach out to me, and I could send you her link directly, and we could always go forward from there as well. But yeah, it's a great process when you actually find the right illustrator, because my last illustrator, Edwina, she did such a good job. Like I was praying that I would find an illustrator that would be able to visualize my words. Cause that's the thing, like as an author, you want somebody to visualize your words in a way that like it just clicks. Like the first two, I had a little complications because it was a language barrier, but it was okay because I was still able to work around them and still help them. And I kind of did a little compromise, but it's okay because at the end of the day, I was helping them gain that portfolio, so I was okay with that. But with this last one, it was about making sure that vision was right and the heart was at the right place. And I'm so beyond loving my illustrator for this one, and I'm most definitely going to come back to her for my next children's books that I will eventually do. So if you need that help or if you want to use my last one, let me know. I'll most definitely provide that info for you.
Yeah, and I love that you went with Fiverr because there are so many incredible people on Fiverr,
Yeah.
and work with your budget because I have a lot of people, Miss Liz, I want to write a book, then just do it.
Yeah.
Work with your budget. It doesn't have to be a number one bestseller. It doesn't need to get all the awards. If that's your goal in life is to write a book or to create something, then do it. You
Yeah.
know, this podcast was not what I expected it to be, but you know what? I'm doing it. I'm
Yeah.
showing up. Let's just show
Mhm.
up and let's do it. And
Yes.
I love that you're giving people opportunities to build a portfolio because that's what people are doing with us, Mitzi, is
Mhm.
trusting us with our platforms and coming and sitting and having tables, right, and teas and thinks about, you know, uh, let's think about it. I'm going to be, you got to come up with a little jazzy song or something about, let's think about it. Let's think, like a little dance, a little groove.
Right,
Like we
I'm
got to
gonna
get
have
some
to
movement
figure it
going, right?
out.
And there's always somebody that's going to throw some dirty water at us. They're going to throw the excuses, or you're not good enough, or you haven't invested enough, or you haven't tried hard enough. Those are the people that are trying to take away our dreams, take away what we wanted and what our message and what our tea is. So we got to just keep serving our teas. Don't let the world dampen you guys.
Exactly.
Because it gets heavy. Like Mitzi said, it does get heavy. And then you start to think. And, as authors and as podcasters and as anybody that works with the public, doing any kind of public work, you automatically think that you're an imposter at some time, at some point in
Mhm.
your life, because you're just like, what am I doing? Does it really matter? Does it really make a difference? Uh, so, Mitzi, I want to give you some lightning bolt questions here that give me like 30 seconds for an answer. Let's have some fun with that. And then
Okay.
we have some other questions that have come in, so I want to get those out to you as well.
Okay.
Uh,
It blanked out. What did you
oh,
say?
one thought that instantly shifts your mood.
It's gonna be okay.
It's going to be okay. A word you live by right now.
One day.
Ooh. What does an open soul feel like to you in a single sentence?
Graceful. I guess in a single word. It's basically having the grace to mess up and having the grace to continue forward.
One thing you wish every adult understood about children.
They're trying their best.
What cup of wisdom are you serving the world today?
Just think about it. Just to think about it.
You see, it comes full circle, guys.
It
It's
does.
that simple. We make it so hard that we are like, I can't do this. I can't. I tell my granddaughter when she says, Nanny, I can't. I said, I don't know that word. That word does not exist in my vocabulary.
It's
I
not in my
can.
dictionary. Sorry, I looked. It's not there.
I'm just like, no, we're not doing that. There's always a solution. There's always a way. It might take a little longer. It might take a little bit more effort, but you can do it. And I'm going back to that 8-year-old Mitzi, who everybody said she wouldn't do anything.
Mhm.
It wouldn't be possible. And look, it is possible. And this is what I mean by serving real life tea. We need to start staying true to ourselves and serving our teas. Mitzi served her tea. I didn't tell Mitzi how to serve her tea. Her tea is her tea, and that's her job to serve it. I just host it. I just give the cookies, guys. Like, I just bring the treats.
Those are yummy treats. I'll take them all.
I want to get into some of the other words that you gave me, and I really want to focus on these words, Mitzi.
Yeah.
You gave me the word vulnerability, ignorance, and character development.
Yes.
Give me examples of these three words for my listeners.
Okay. When you asked for those 3 words, I was really thinking about them. I was really thinking like, what 3 words are very important to me? And I realized vulnerability is very important to me because we need to learn to be vulnerable with ourselves and with the world. And I know there are so many people out there who the just the mere thought of being vulnerable not only scares them, but causes them to put up a wall, shield up, prepare for guns. You know what I mean? They get ready for battle when it comes to being vulnerable because they can't even fathom the thought of being vulnerable. And people don't realize being vulnerable is actually your superpower because not nobody realizes that when you're vulnerable and when you own up to your stuff, when you own up to all that you've done, the good, the bad, the ugly, the beautiful, when you own it all up and you be vulnerable with it, nobody can use that against you. They'll try, but it won't work. They'll try to throw it in your face and then you're like, yeah, I know. And what? I'm better from it. And that's where it develops your character because you become better. You learn, you realize that you persevered. You realize you endured. You realize that you have not gotten stuck and you matured. And I don't think people realize that. And then I also chose the word ignorance because a lot of the times people perceive the word ignorance as something very bad. And I get it. It is bad when you don't do anything about it. That's when it becomes bad. But when you know that there's ignorance in you and ignorance around you, but you choose to do better, learn, achieve, try to do something about your ignorance and be that forever student, then you're not ignorant. Then you develop your character again. You know what I mean? You do something about it. And that's the thing that people don't realize. Like, own up to your ignorance. I don't know. You know how honest I am about I don't know? I don't know a lot of things in this world. I really don't know. But I am willing to learn. And then it comes back to the very beginning, open mind. I have an open mind because I am ignorant to so much. Like school, growing up was not something that was made important. My mom did not care if I showed up to school or not. I got to do school or not to do school. You know what I mean? I remember the first 2 days of school of the school year, I didn't show up until the third, fourth day. And they were like, Mitzi, are you here? I'm like, yeah, I'm here. I just didn't feel like going to school for the first 2 days. You know what I mean? Then I never got in trouble. So for me, like I always felt like I was ignorant because I never actually did school the right way. And it wasn't until my junior year where I really decided to take it serious because it's like I need to do this for me. Like I need to stop cheating, I need to stop going off, I need to stop complaining to the teachers, I need to stop trying to like sucker them up because I used to have teachers that would feel so bad for me that they would just give me the answers. You know what I mean? So I just kind of like skated my way through until one year I realized I need to do this for me. I need to realize that I'm not stupid. I'm actually very intelligent. So it wasn't until I got into college where I got like a 4.0 and I realized like I am smart. Like I'm smart. I got this. I just need to own up to my ignorance instead of acting arrogant and acting like I know everything because that's true stupidity. When you act like you know everything, that's a dangerous combination that can lead you down a spiral that will not be successful for you. You will not do anything good in this world if you live on arrogance and if you live on your ego saying, I don't need to do this. I don't need to learn this. I don't need. Like, no, we need to learn. We need to be community. We need one another. I can't do everything on my own. And the proof is I go to store to buy my food. You know what I mean? I need electricity. There's a company that makes the electricity. I need Wi-Fi. There's another company with tons of people making the electricity, making the Wi-Fi, making all of these things accessible. And it's proof that everybody does too, because look at you, you're using it. People who are listening in, they're using it. You know what I mean? We need one another. And if we stop thinking that we have to move in this independent culture mindset, that's me, myself, and I, and start moving in a we concept, this village concept that for some reason is trying to erase itself from the world. We need to bring that back in because in reality, we need one another. I mean, come on, the pandemic made it real for us. You know what I mean? When the stores shut down, the restaurants shut down, the world shut down, it made it real how much we need one another. And it made it real for us how real we need to slow down, how real we need to be authentic, how real we need to choose our present day, who we're going to spend our time with, how we're going to be authentic, how we're going to show up. And I think that's why I did this, because I kind of did my podcast and I kind of did all of this stuff, writing my book all around the pandemic, because I realized I can't be the only one that feels, thinks, hears, and like dreams the way I do. And it made me realize I'm not alone, because, like you said, I'm already scheduled out into the next year, and it's crazy to think about that, because I never even realized this was even going to be a thing for me. So it's just like people need to own up to the vulnerability. They need to own up to their own ignorance, and they need to develop their character and not be afraid of life and people educating them, teaching them, correcting them. And that's the problem. A lot of the times when they hear correction, they're like, oh no, they shut it down. But it's like, no, I love it when people correct me. I love it when people bring to me, oh, this is what you're missing out of your equation. This is what you're missing out of this statement. This is what you're missing. Oh, just twist your perspective from this. And then you see where that's coming from or how you got that understanding. And then I'm like, you know what? Thank you. Thank you. I value and appreciate every single soul out there that gives me that correction, that gives me that understanding, that gives me that wisdom that I don't have. Why? Because I'm only 32. I still got so much life ahead of me. You know what I mean? There's people here that's beyond my time, beyond my understanding, and I want to eat it up and I want to know what I don't know. So yes, that's what I got.
Well, you know what, Mitzi? I want to just say thank you for sharing that, because that is real rawness right there. And that's a real strong cup of tea. You know, stop worrying about what everyone else is doing. But during the pandemic, a lot of us pivot. A lot of us found our flames. A lot of us grew. A lot of us found opportunity that we never really thought we would have been doing.
Yeah.
I was doing fundraising in the community, and then I went pivot and I went to broadcasting. But what I was doing was just pivoting in a different direction,
Yeah.
being directed into a different direction, just like you were. You know, keep that mind open. And I always say this, I can't do this alone, guys. Yes, I do a lot of it alone, but
Yeah.
you know what? I have a team, and my team is my T, and my T is my guest, and the PRs and the publicists and all the people that I work with behind the scenes. If I don't talk to at least 30 people a day, I'm not talking to anybody. You know, it is a busy world behind the scenes. A
Yeah.
lot of people don't understand the word podcast. There is a lot of work that goes into it. There's a lot of conversation that goes into it that you don't even hear those conversations because it's all the back. It's underneath that iceberg, right? And until we learn to stop being ignorant and stop, you know, me, myself, and I, we're not gonna grow. We're not gonna heal. We're not gonna get better. You know, we have to do this together. And the pandemic taught us this, that we have to do it together.
Absolutely.
You know, I really want to thank you, Mitzi, for that.
No, thank
You
you.
know, and the ones that are coming and saying, "Oh, not you don't have enough followers, you don't have enough listeners. Let's close this channel down. Let's do this." You know, those are the people that fear us, because they're like, one person is tuning in, and you know what? The person who left that comment is tuning in and listening and felt the need to put that comment. So you know what I mean? You have turned into my show to come and put negative, but I'm turning it into a positive and saying thank you for coming and listening. You know,
Absolutely.
that's what we have to do, is turn and flip the script, turn it around. You know,
Exactly, and people don't realize that half of those people that say those things, or the trolls of the internet, how they're called, they only put obstacles up that they've already put obstacles in front of themselves.
yeah,
So they have this self-projection of hate and disability and inability and destruction for their own selves, and they're realizing that, oh, I can't just destroy myself. I got to destroy other people. So they'll put those obstacles in front of you saying, oh, well, you need to jump over this hurdle before you're able to say that you're this. You're able to do this before you're able to do this. And then just like, maybe to a degree, you're right, to the people who think that's what values. But for the other people who would just appreciate your presence, that means more to me. And I think that comes back to our character. Because if your character is only looking for the people who value your presence over all of these accolades and all of these other things, these awards and degrees and alphabets that's behind your name, you know what I mean? It doesn't really matter, because I have met people who were millionaires, billionaires, and they still suffer the same stuff that we suffer. They still eat and shit and piss and sleep just like any other person that's common Joe, and they still deal with the same things that we deal, that people say that, oh, well, you're not good enough because you don't have billions of followers, or you don't have billions of downloads. Sorry, you don't meet my criteria. Well, the people who do meet your criteria are empty souls that are wearing themselves out on a hamster wheel, and they are exhausted and they can barely function for themselves or for you. So good luck with that.
Absolutely. And that's why I wanted to bring that to the table, is the character, right? We really got to start looking at our characters.
Absolutely.
Everyone says the titles, the names and everything. I have so many titles behind me, but I want to be known as Miss Liz. I want to be known as Liz. I don't want to be known as the queen of Europe or the queen of this and queen of that. I want to be known as Liz, the lady that serves tea, the people that mock the tea, the people that laugh at the tea. You know what? If you're laughing, you're giggling, then at least you're enjoying me. You know, let's take it and turn it into a positive. Let's take the negative and turn it into a positive. One question that came in that I really want to get out is, what message do you hope children gain from your 4 published books, Mitzi?
That's a really good question. My hope that children would gain from my books is the wonder, the what ifs. That's it. To play with the idea of what if. What if you used water this way? What if your pet wanted this type of snack? What if your loved one is still with you, cheering you on, rooting you on, even when you still feel so alone and so isolated? What if there's hope for your situation? What if what you see now as a child, you realize that you can be something so much more as an adult? You know what I mean? Because man, I know how it feels to be a child, and to feel scared, and to wonder, is this going to be my forever? Is this always going to be something I'm going to worry about? You know what I mean? Worrying about things that I shouldn't even be worrying about. And to have that understanding, that and to remember what it was like to be a child, is my hope that other children would know that it's not there forever. You know what I mean? That when you become an adult, you can choose. Your actions matter, your voice matter. You don't have to be like your parents, you don't have to be like your community, you don't have to be an example of your environment. You can be something more. No matter where you are in the world, you can be something more as long as you believe you can do more. And no matter who is against you, as long as you are for you, then man, that's all that matters. All you need is you.
Mitzi, another question came in is, you're a strong advocate for critical thinking. Where did that passion begin?
When I realized that people don't think as much as you think they would. You know what I mean? But I know it sounds silly to say it out loud, but people really don't think. They don't process their thinking skills. They just move and skate through life and follow the wave and follow the trends and follow the wind, and they just go along with the flow, but they don't question. They don't ask why. They don't ask how. They don't ask where, when, what, you know what I mean? All of those W's, they don't and H's. They don't ask these questions that are so valuable. And when we bring critical thinking back into the equation, then we allow discernment to tell us if it's right or not. And with this world of AI coming in and deceiving us to believing things and places and all these other things, we need to really tap into critical thinking, because that's where our heart is. And human to human connection, that's where heart is. Because if you deal with AI, they remove the heart, they remove the emotions, they remove the feelings. So you need to have discernment, and to have discernment, you need to be able to have that critical thinking aspect in your life.
Absolutely, Mitzi. I'm a strong believer that I'm going to put a heart in one of these AI people, because I say it all the time. Get a heart. Come on, like you got to put some feeling in there, like some emotion. Dig a little deeper. You know, there's a Christmas movie that Scrooge, and there's a song. I'm trying to think, and she's a fairy, and then she runs and she boops him in the head. Bill Murray. I'm trying to think of the movie, but there's a song in that movie. If any of my listeners out there know the song, let me know the song because it's bugging me now. Um, but it brings the heart into it again. It brings the connection in together, you know. And I'm a strong believer that the universe sets dates up for a certain reason, puts guests in at a certain placement, you know, because I'll have guests that are aligned. Like I'll have a morning show or an afternoon and an evening show sometimes, and I'll be like, how come those three guests all have something that connect, that all have the same message, but they were all booked at different times?
Yeah, I've had
They
that
were
too.
maybe booked 1 week ago, 6 months ago, a year ago, you know. Mitzi, do you find that that happens with your show as well? Is that
Absolutely.
a person
Absolutely.
will come and you'll be like, how did that happen?
Oh, I know, I know. Like, I'll be thinking of something or questioning something or going through something, and then literally I'll go have a guest, another guest, another guest, and there's my answer. I get it. I receive it. I understand it. I can flip it and reverse it, pop it, whatever, twist it, whatever. You know what I mean? I can utilize it. And I know if I can utilize it, that means somebody out there who may be listening at the time that's right, then it matters. And that's why I say it's all in the right time. We can't get pressured that once I release it at a certain time that, oh, I'm so disappointed because it doesn't get so many downloads at that single time that it's aired live. Like, no, you don't know what's happening. The world is moving, the world is evolving. You know what I mean? We have to have that understanding. And when it's the right time that somebody reads my book, the right time that somebody tunes into my podcast, the right time that somebody tunes into this conversation, that's when it's valuable. That's when it holds so much merit, so much weight that not even all the gold in the world can even bring in the value of what it really does to do when it causes somebody to change.
Well, I think it all goes back to let's think about it.
Yeah,
You know, let's
exactly.
just think about it. Like, you know, when guests come our certain way, let's just think about it. You know,
Mhm.
have that conversation, open that door. And sometimes it doesn't align with your platform. Just think about it. There's a reason, there's a message, there's a lesson in there.
Yeah,
Not everything has to align, not everything has to join at
yeah,
that moment. It
yeah,
might come in the future. It
yes.
might connect the dot. It might bring it to the conversation in the future. So, Mitzi, what is your final message to all the listeners today?
Um, I guess I guess keep it simple. Let's think about it. Just position yourself to think, position yourself to have an open mind, have an open heart, have an open soul, and have the discernment to know what matters to you, to bring back your values, your morals, and where it sits in your heart and in your life. Because if something doesn't hold value to you for whatever belief system you have, whatever understanding you have, that's fine. Put it in the back burner because you don't know, like we said earlier, time will reveal itself to show you the importance of that story, of that wisdom, of that understanding. So just think about it. You know what I mean? Allow things to come in without just rejecting it so fast because so many people will hear something and like, that means nothing to me. That's just nonsense. But in reality, it's like, if we allow ourselves to just like, you know what, it maybe not hold value right now at this very second of my life, but later on it might will. Maybe later on I can sit with it, I can play with it, I can think about it. And that's, I guess that's another thing. Give yourself time for silence because silence is so necessary when it comes to evaluating and just sitting with things. And people don't even give themselves to even be in silence. There's so much chaos, there's so much noise, there's so much go 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 go. The TV's on, the radio's on, the iPad's on, the this is on, the stove is on. Everything's making so much noise that you don't even know where it's coming from anymore. You know what I mean? And that's why it's like sometimes I just have to sit with in silence. Like I wake up early sometimes just to be in silence. Like no TV, no music, no nothing, just silence. And I know when cars are passing by, I know when the bus is coming to pick up the kids, I know when my kids are moving in their beds, I know when my dog is shuffling, like, you know what I mean? Like I know every single move that's happening in my home. Because I've allowed myself to sit with silence. And I think that's another thing that people just need to do is allow themselves to sit with silence, because you don't know what you're going to tell yourself later. You know what I mean? Like we have that conscious, you know what I mean? And sometimes our conscious is trying to speak to us, but because we're on the go so much and there's so much noise, it doesn't even give us the time to even listen to it. You know what I mean? For those people who are very religious, where's your time with God? You know what I mean? That's the perfect time to have with God, is when you have that silence, because so that God can actually speak to you. So it's just like, just think about it, people. Just think.
And I really want to thank you, Mitzi, for joining me on Tea Time. And let's think about it. Let's really listen to this tea time and take your time to just pause. You know, I want to close it. I'm going to do a closing summary in about 2 seconds here, but I just want you to shout out your website again. Again, Christmas shopping, guys. Check out these guests, check out their books, check out their services, check out the work they do. And if you'd like to volunteer or take part in any of the platforms or connect with any of these guests, you are more than welcome to reach out to me and ask me, Miss Liz, can you connect the dot? Absolutely. Because the T plus me equals a team. And that's how we work in this house. We work as a team. So
Yes.
I want you to shout out your website so we can get those books out there. Christmas shopping, guys. Books are important. Let's get the kids thinking and reading and understanding. And you know what? Children's books are good for adults too.
Yes, they really are, because it helps them realize to connect with their inner self, and they give them the message that they need, that sometimes adult novels, they don't even give them the time to actually read the whole entire novel, but a quick 30 pages of quick little couple sentences in a book, it'll eat you all up and realize, you know what, I needed that. So yeah, I agree. But yeah, my website is mitzythinking.com, mitzinc.com. Yes, hit me up. You'll find my blogs, you'll find my podcast, you'll find my books that I personally wrote, and I also share all of these other great authors, just like Miss Liz here, who have written so many great, amazing books to help you continue on thinking. Because for me, that is the goal, is to help you all continue on thinking.
Absolutely. Well, thank you so much, Mitzi. And thank you guys for listening. What a soulful and thoughtful, provoking tea time we had with Mitzi today. Thank you for reminding us that healing does not shout, it whispers. It begins the moment we became we become aware of our thoughts and bold enough to reshape them. Today's conversation taught us that mindfulness is not about perfection, it is about presence. Growth isn't about becoming someone new, it's about remembering who we are beneath fear, noise, and expectations. To everyone listening, may you leave this table asking better questions, choosing kinder words toward yourself, and carrying awareness into every moment. Until the next cup's poured, keep thinking deeper, loving harder, and choosing a life of intentions. And I'll see everybody on Thursday, and we'll do this all over again with two incredible new guests that are coming to the table.